Let's talk 3D printing here at Mount DeSales. So the first step is to create a 3D file of a particular format. There's several different ways this is possible using the Macs in the ARC. This particular file, let's call it a piece of art, was created on an iPad using an app that I found somewhere. So then you have to transfer the file over to the Mac that the 3D printer is connected to, and you would open up a piece of software called XYZ Print, which you see it there, and then your file will open, or you can open the file. The blue represents the bed of the printer. The cube is what the printer can print. And you can see you can click and drag and in all three directions, left, right, up, down, that kind of stuff. So if I click on the object, then I can resize it. This is inside the printing software. So you can see I can get to the overhead view, click on one of those little handles, and make it bigger. So then I can make it bigger on the print bed or smaller, resize it, mash it, deform it, that kind of stuff. Remember that the bigger the object, the more filament it uses, and the more filament, the more expensive it is to print. We're not talking hideous amounts of money, but it is something to think about. It's a lot more expensive than paper and print, than paper and ink. You can also change the color that it shows up in the software. Here I change it to blue. That does not change what color the object is when it's printed. The object's color is determined by the color of the filament that's in the printer. So you see there's some options that you can select. And that corner, that little cube down in the corner, helps you keep track of where it is you're looking at. Is it the left, the right, the top, or the bottom? It really is easy to get lost in space. So you can see as you click and drag your object, the little cube in the left corner changes. You can also zoom in and out. That's using the little mouse button on the Mac. Now right now what you're seeing here are all the vertices. This is a mesh look, if you will. You can also have it fill in, and that's more of a matter of personal preference. I'll change it depending on what it is I'm looking at and what I'm trying to do. So there are some mesh settings you can change. Fewer mesh points means that it's less calculation, the file size is smaller, it prints faster, and it uses less filament. So there's how you do it. And you can see you change it. On the left you see original, on the right let's get a little ridiculous, and you can click, you can see the numbers there significantly smaller. Hit the preview, you can really see the difference. You know, the curves are less curvy. It's a lot more straight lines, a lot more jumbly. Jaggedy, I guess, is a better word. And you would do this because this is actually much faster to print with fewer points. There is the fewer mesh points in the same in the mesh view. But let's undo. Take it back to fuller quality. That's where you change the colors again. And there's the button to push if you want to change your view from the mesh point to the filled in view. They have fancier words, but that's what I have it in my head. You can see the little handles around the object. You click and drag those. So here's the 3D printer. Up top, that's the actual print head. It's called an extruder. That moves left and right and up and down. That bottom is the bed. It moves front and back, and that is where your object is held. So then in step 4, you actually hit print on the software, and this is what it looks like. Obviously, this is stop motion. And this is that same little piece of art that I did on the iPad. Look how long it took, 1 hour and 36 minutes to print. And this is what it printed. So notice it's yellow. That's because it has yellow filament in the thing. It actually took a couple of tries to get it right, and that's because the printer's new and I was trying to figure out the software. In a second, you're going to notice in the original there was an open space underneath two of those big log things. And what happens, the software slices through the object and figures out where it needs to add additional structure points, kind of like an engineer does with a bridge. So if you look on the left, there's some filled in spots that is not in the original drawing. And that's all automatically done in the software, depending on the software. Now again, we have a variety of pieces of software on the Macs that you can use and on the Windows machines to create the 3D structures, and then you bring them into the 3D printer. So ask Ms. Andrews, Mr. Rule, if you have any questions. And that's 3D printing at Mountain to Sales.